All right, let's dive into one of the biggest, and I mean biggest, shifts in Southern California real estate, the accessory dwelling unit, or ADU. You know, that guest house, that converted garage, it's changing pretty much everything about how we value property. So today, we're going to help you get a real handle on it. Just look at this number, 23,000. In 2023 alone, Los Angeles County issued over 23,000 permits for ADUs. Now get this. Back in 2016, that number was just 1,200. This is not a small trend, folks. It's a full-blown market revolution happening right in our backyards. Literally. And that gets us to the real problem here. If you're an agent working anywhere in the San Gabriel Valley, you know this feeling. You see the ADU, you know it has value, but your standard CMA tools, they just aren't built for this. It creates this huge cloud of uncertainty, and it's happening every single day. So here's our game plan for this explainer. We'll kick things off with the ADU explosion itself. Then we'll break down the three biggest valuation traps that agents are falling into. After that, we're going to build a whole new framework for thinking about this and wrap up with how you can price these unique properties with total confidence.
All right, first up, the ADU explosion. Now, this wasn't just some random surge in popularity. No, this was a fundamental market shift caused by a massive change in the rules of the game.
So, what happened? Well, state laws came in and effectively wiped out most of the local roadblocks that cities used to put up against building these units. The floodgates just opened. And for agents in places like Pasadena and Arcadia, the ADU question went from being a rare hypothetical to like a weekly challenge. Okay, so let's get into the core challenges this creates for you. We're going to break down the three most common valuation traps. These are the pitfalls that lead to mispricing, really tough client conversations, and maybe even leaving money on the table. Trap number one is the big one, permitted versus unpermitted. A permitted ADU is a clear asset, simple as that. But an unpermitted one, that's a liability. Think about this scenario in Glendale. A homeowner had this backyard rental unit, totally unpermitted, and they just assumed its rental income added value. The reality was the exact opposite. It created all these financing hurdles for buyers and actually became a discount risk for the seller. So the first question you have to ask is it legal? And get this, the scale of this problem is huge. About 40% of the ADUs that are already out there in LA County are unpermitted. That means nearly half the time you come across one of these, you're not dealing with an asset. You're navigating a potential liability for your client. Which leads us right into trap number two, pricing potential versus reality. So imagine this, a brand new ADU in Pasadena, built for a family member, never been rented. Do you price the potential income it could generate, or do you price the reality that it's never actually produced a dime? You know, the answer really depends on who the buyer is, which makes your job incredibly complex. And trap number three, this is the one that frustrates everyone. Your comps are fundamentally incomplete. The multiple listing service, the very system we all rely on, doesn't have a consistent, reliable way to flag homes that have ADUs. You're basically flying blind. I mean, this quote from an agent working on a Monrovia garage conversion says it all, doesn't it? They did their homework, they pulled the comps, and nothing. Not a single comparable sale with a permitted ADU. This forces you into this tough spot where you're comparing apples to oranges and trying to justify a price without direct evidence. Okay, so we've seen the chaos. Now let's bring some order to it. It's time to move past the old methods and adopt a new framework, one that's specifically designed for the age of the ADU. This is it. This is the new framework. Think of it as a 5-point checklist for every single ADU property you look at. Number 1, permitted status. Is it an asset or is it a liability? 2, size and quality. Are we talking a basic garage conversion or some high-end architectural build? 3, rental income. Is that income active and real or is it just potential? 4, neighborhood norms. Are ADUs common here or is this a total unicorn? And 5, comp availability. Can you actually find a true apples-to-apples comparison? All right, let's put it all together. Pricing with confidence isn't about finding one perfect number. It's about adopting a much more sophisticated, dual perspective approach that you can clearly communicate to your clients. So here's how the pros are doing it. First, you establish a value floor. This is based on what comparable single-family homes without ADUs are selling for. Then you establish a value ceiling based on the ADU's income potential. The final price is going to land somewhere in that range, and your expertise is explaining exactly where and why. And this right here is absolutely key. By showing your work and explaining this dual perspective method, you build so much trust. Your seller understands why the valuation range might be a little wider than usual. This transparency protects you, it manages their expectations, and it positions you as the true expert in the room. So, a really confident process, it looks something like this. You capture all those ADU details right at the start, you analyze both the comps and the income potential, you present both perspectives clearly, and you explain why the final range reflects all the data. Tools do exist that are built for this modern challenge, generating reports with the transparency you need. For example, a platform like CMA Flow is designed to present these dual perspectives really clearly. So we'll end with this question. In this new market, the difference between a standard valuation and a sophisticated one could be tens or even hundreds of thousands of dollars. The guest house has changed everything, and knowing how to value it correctly is no longer some niche skill. It's absolutely essential. So, is your next listing hiding its true value?